morning and welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art. So excited that you guys are here. It's, of course, winter and our snow's melting away. So it's not looking like Christmas like it was a week ago when we had almost blizzard conditions. But we are excited to have you today. And that's because I have Margaret Ann Philbrick. Did I pronounce all that correct, Margaret?
All of it just right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Margaret is coming from Wisconsin. Is that correct?
Yes, lots of snow here. And yeah, it's real winter. The real winter is on in Wisconsin. Yes.
Well, and it's so weird is last week we had, and we plowed twice because the snow was, we don't even plow until it's like 4 or 6 inches. And my husband even had to take out some trees that had fallen across the road and stuff. And so it was like, and I even had a tree in the front yard fall because
Oh my
it was
gosh.
so caked with this heavy, wet snow. But today I look out and there's no snow.
Aw.
It's been raining and it's warmed up, but that to me is an invitation for me to go on a walk later, right?
Yes, correct. Yes. Going outside when you get a break is always advised. Yes.
So for our guests that are joining, if you have any questions, be sure to ask and be sure to share and like. And we're going to start with Margaret. Where are you? What town in Wisconsin area or area you're from right now?
Yes. So I live in Bailey's Harbor, which is a tiny town on the Door County Peninsula. I think it's unincorporated. I mean, it's really small. And I grew up, actually came, I think I was conceived on my parents' honeymoon when they came to Door County. I think I've been here before I was born. And so I've been coming here my whole life, but it was always just a vacation destination for our family. And then when we were in a position to move here, which was only a year ago, we jumped on it. And now it's kind of living your outdoor dream life. It's kind of become part of my existence to be outside. And like, I just went cross country skiing the other day. I mean, I have to take advantage of it. It's so beautiful here. So yeah, it's great. I love it. And I lived in Chicago. I lived in the city for a long time. I mean, I've done the city. I went to college in San Antonio, kind of in the city. So it's really fun over time to get to be in a more wild space. Yes, I love it.
Well, we made that decision 30 years ago
Good for
to
you.
leave the city, and we wanted to go someplace that was a vacation destination. And that's why we live here in North Idaho. It was because, exactly like you said, we wanted to live where you would vacation so you can enjoy. But the big thing about that is you have to remember to take advantage of all the beauty around you and take that time because otherwise you get stuck in that same mode that you were when you were living in the city, right? Where it's constantly working on this or that, and then you just start, oh, yeah, it's pretty. So it's nice when people come into town because then it's like, oh, here, I'll take you there. I'll be your tourist guide. But I'm
Exactly.
but in there's because I remember, and then it was like 10 years ago. It's been a while. I remember I was at a show for an art show and I realized it was August and I had not gone in the lake yet. We had not taken our boat out. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
oh my gosh. And I just started crying.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
miss. That's a miss. You got to do it.
it is. So then we started going every single day, for August. But it's like, if you don't enjoy the months or that
Yes.
time and it's when the beauty around us, then
Yes.
we're losing it all. And I realized how stressed out I was and all the different things that come with being out in nature, you
Yes.
know. So
Yes.
it was interesting. So I made that commitment to myself. It's like, no, you are going to make sure you take time, you schedule instead of scheduling to where you think, okay, give yourself only a week extra to have your art projects done for commissions. I schedule almost a month extra just in case. I'd rather have them happy knowing that it's done, but also take that pressure off of me.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
well, enough
Absolutely.
about me here. So, tell me your story growing up. I want to know what led you to where you're at today.
Yeah, I would say my mom was an artist. She painted. She did the illustrations for our Christmas book, Back to the Manger. It was her idea to do the book. It was my first book in 2009. So as far as an artistic career, which I think since it was started in 2008, I'm sort of getting to that point now where I consider it to be a career. I would say that because I grew up in a house where my mom was always drawing, she was always taking us through children's literature and bringing the lens of art and beauty into our home and what we were living. I think growing up with her mentorship and cultivation, I would say that that has carried me through to the point, and it's so ironic, isn't it? Perfect that she was the one who said, "Oh my gosh, that's a great story. We have to create a book about that," because of her, I was in a place where I was ready to receive that invitation and believe that I could do it. But I kind of have had sort of, I would say, professional chunks of life. So I did a pretty long stint of almost 10 years in advertising in Chicago, working on Kellogg's advertising. So that was a
Kellogg's?
very, Kellogg's, yeah, that was a very strategic, fun, creative environment, working on Pop-Tarts and Nutri-Grain bars and cereals and all that stuff. I loved it.
So you did the
But then
marketing basically.
yes, yes, the marketing strategy development, which was so much fun for me. But then I got pregnant, and we, got pregnant with our first child, and I just could not possibly keep doing that job and have a baby. I mean, it was just not going to happen. I was always traveling, I was always moving, working endless hours. My husband worked in the building across from me. We lived in the city. It was like, yeah, it's a whole different world. So we moved out of the city. We bought a house in the suburbs, but fortunately, it was a house that had a lot of space to garden. Thank goodness. And I became a full-time stay-at-home mom, and I did that for 11 years. And then I went back to school and I got a master's degree, and then I became a writing and literature teacher. And so that really brought me back into writing and literature. And I did that for a long time. I mean, a long time, but I was writing while I was doing that. So I just retired from full, teaching for real. And that was when we had our first grandchildren. And I kind of always imagined retiring when we had our grandchildren because, you're pouring into everybody's children for years and years. And then it's like, okay, I got to take the time that I have and pour it into our own kids' now. So that has been brand new and very fun. It's just fantastic. Of course, they're adorable. Of course, everyone says this is one of the greatest times in life. Because you have to be, you get to be with the kids and invest in them, and then you get to leave them and you get to go and do your other things that you're doing. So it's different. It's very different than, being a mom.
Grandkids are a total blessing. I
Yeah.
have five, but I'll warn you, they grow way too fast. Our youngest is already 16.
Oh,
So, and our oldest will be turning 20 here.
oh my gosh. You had grandkids when you were like 35 years old. That's really crazy. Good for you. I mean, good for you.
Thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
So,
Yeah.
but they've been fun because we do go hiking, we do stuff together all the time. So you get that, you build those relationships and stuff. So I
Yeah.
want to take you back to when you were working at Kellogg here, real
Hmm.
quick. So I think what people don't realize until you're doing it, how busy some jobs are.
Mm.
As a marketing, you would think you wouldn't be doing all kinds of travel.
Oh my
And
goodness. I mean, we were always in the car driving to Battle Creek, Michigan, because that's where Kellogg's is headquartered. And I had this fantastic boss. His name was Mike Arnold, and he and I would drive together all the time to these meetings. And so we figured out how to make it beautiful. We would stop and pick asparagus along the highway. We would stop at Farmer Fridays in Coloma, Michigan. We would stop in Sawyer, Michigan and go antiquing. I mean, we just had to make the most of it because it was draining the life out of us. It was just such a demanding job. But I was young. I mean, I was in my 20s. I feel like everybody should take on a job that is really demanding when they're in their 20s and 30s, because that kind of job now, oh, I would be dead and buried, 12 feet under, not happening.
it teaches us a lot. It's like,
Yes.
I know, and I understand staying at home, being a mom is a full-time job
For
because you're not
sure.
supposed to, because all moms are full-time. And if you're working too, then that's like another full second job. And then if you're working, and being a wife
Wild.
and you're the housekeeper, you're the cook, you're the gardener, you're
Yeah.
everything. And people don't realize how much work it is. But, to me, dedicating that time for your child is so, so important. And I
Yeah.
did the same, even though I had a full-time job. My bosses were nice. I could always take my girls with me. So I never had a
That's sweet.
babysitter. It was in property management. Only time I had babysitters is like when I was modeling or doing something on the side or a volunteer project, something different that I couldn't take them. Then my husband watched them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I have turned down jobs that paid extremely high bonuses because they were in the city and because I was going to be out of the country like for 2 weeks of every month. And I was like, I can't do that with little kids.
Right. I mean, you never get that time back. That's part of it. You
Yeah.
don't get it back. And I think that just recognizing that those early, just innocent, precious years, oh my gosh, the things they say, right? The things that hilarious. They're so hilarious and so much fun. And so draining, of course. I mean, they're just going to just take you to your limit, but it is on the other side of it. I mean, it was 11 years I was with them full time. We have three. And then I got a babysitter, and then I went into the groove of kind of, doing other things as well. But they were at a point in school where it was fine. It was like a great time to do that. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for maximizing the early years, the wonder years, with the little guys, because it's priceless, truly. I sound like a MasterCard ad, but it is. It just is.
Hey, it is priceless. And I guarantee I actually totally agree with you is what I mean. Because and during the time, like when my girls were in junior high and high school, I've always done volunteer stuff, but I worked with the youth.
Mm.
And, and I even substitute taught for a while just so we could work with the youth group and different youth in the different schools because we wanted to show them we were there for suicide prevention. So if they
Mm.
ever had any things and stuff. But like you, when I had the grandkids, I started walking away from doing so much volunteer stuff because I wanted my extra time to be with them.
Yes.
Because I wanted to be there for my own girls, but I wanted to be there for those grandkids because, like you said, I think those younger years, especially those first 7 years, are
Oh.
so precious.
Oh my goodness, yes. It's just indelible. It's indelible. I remember so many things, the hilarious, cute things that our kids said from when they were young, because of course I wrote them down. I mean, you got to just somehow make space to write things down. I think obviously you're going to forget so much. Everyone now looks at it like, oh, well, I have all the pictures on my phone. I'm going to remember, but you're not, it's like there's just those priceless bits that you just got to capture. And I think about those bits now. Now I'm in a place where I'm like, when my son said to me, when I walked him over to the mirror, carried him out of his high chair, and he had grape juice mustache, and he said to me, Mama, I have a sunset on my mouth. And, that's something I've thought about all these years, looking at sunrises and sunsets, and taking the idea of a sunrise and sunset and applying it to ourselves and what it would look like visually, right? I mean, it's fascinating to me. So yeah, I just think that there's so much material there that you can work from later on in life when you really invest in capturing it in those early wonder years. Yeah,
That's an awesome idea, journaling it. The other thing I had heard, I admit, I never did it. I should have, and I wish I would have, was to start an email account for the grandkid and send them little notes, like once a
cute.
week or little kiddos or for your kids. So then it goes to them and they have that email account later on.
That's great. Our daughter, she's our middle child. She gave me last Christmas, I would call it the greatest blessing and the greatest curse of a gift. And that is giving your parent the gift of story worth. And so that means that every single week you get a prompt in the mail, in your email, and you write to the prompt the answer. you have choices, so it's not limited to a prompt that you may hate. And then you just, at the end of the year, 52 prompts later, there you are with all this information about your life to pass on to your grandchildren and whoever else in life beyond them is going to read it. I mean, it is a ton of work. And because, you want to do a good job on it, because like my mother's art, I was talking about, the words that I've written, they're probably going to live on, hopefully beyond my own life. It matters. And so there's a lot of pressure, not only to get it done, but now to go back and edit it and to find the perfect photos, to go da, 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 da. So I actually just wrote an article for the local paper about, is story worth it? Is it a gift? Is it really? Or is it this giant type A person burden that you're about to just suffocate under? And I think it's a little bit of both. So yeah, that's what I've been doing this year pretty much. And I have 8 entries left and then I'm done.
Wow, it sounds awesome, but it sounds like a lot of work.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
it.
Yeah,
No,
it'll be awesome for people who never met me. People who will be saying to themselves one day, gosh, what is it about being outside that is just so satisfying to me? Why do I love it so much? Well, this is why my great grandmother loved it. So it'll hopefully give them food for thought of reflecting on their own lives and, the lineage that I guess and really the heritage that they inherited, right? It's like, somebody's got to do it. So my daughter said, "Hey, look,
it's your
you're a
legacy.
writer, right? You're a writer. Like you got to do it. You have to do it before you get dementia. And you can't remember anything." So I said, "Fine,
Tell her
okay."
you're not say I'm not getting dementia.
I know. I'm hoping my turmeric tea saves me. I mean, come on.
That's why you're
who knows?
spending time out in nature and you're doing these different things,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very healthy for sure. Just breathing real oxygen versus the air of the city. Oh my goodness. I mean, I have said to my friends, running trails up in northern Wisconsin is so much healthier that I can feel it than if I'm running down in the city on on Lakeshore Drive on the lake. I mean, you just can feel the difference. And I'm sure that's mental, but it may
No,
be physical. It may be physical.
I believe it's the difference. It's kind of like one of our guests, Kiki. Like she said, she lives off the ocean now because the ocean mist is and it's helping her with her MS.
Oh, that's great.
And it's like if you think about it, if you go in there, even if your lungs are like you're coughing, you have a bad flu or whatever, if you go outside and you breathe that fresh air, it's like it does something to you. And it's different because I can smell the difference in the airs. I know my husband always laughs and he's like, you're so sensitive to smell, just like a dog or something. But I can smell the difference when you go to different places.
Yes.
Just a freshness, even from the valley to up high in an alpine lake area.
Yes, definitely. I think it makes a huge difference. Absolutely. Yes.
But it's also, like you said, it's probably our minds being so positive because we're outside and we're just taking in everything we can and enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a delight. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just one of those. And I mean, it was a delight when we lived in the suburbs. We were gardening. Our kids, were growing food. I mean, we figured out how to make it feel like it was an existence that was cultivating and bringing the outside indoors. We figured out how to do that.
Well, talking about bringing the outsides in, because I totally agree. I've lived places and you always make the best of every place and you find ways to bring the outdoors. Last week, it was Saturday or Sunday. I went out to our garage and I noticed there was a little bird trapped in it. But the garage door, when I went to open it, wasn't opening because I was like, oh, it needs to get out so it can feed, eat and stuff. And my husband went out. Well, he left the door open and the little bird came in the house and it kept in my house. I bring the outdoors in. So I have trees that are,
yes,
tall and stuff in my house. And so it kept flying into the trees and the different art pieces.
That's a whole nother level. That's another level. Yeah. Yeah, that is.
And it
That's
blew
so
up
funny.
by where there was a nest on the one branch in my entryway. And we're just like, okay, where is it? Because it blended right in with the trees. So.
Oh my goodness. I have to tell this one funny story. We had a canopy bed right? And so what I decided to do, I can't sleep under a little canopy like a little girl anymore with my husband. This is kind of weird. So took the canopy off, but I left the wooden structure, and then I covered the entire thing in grapevine, and then put Christmas lights all over it and put birds' nests in it, like you're describing. I thought it was gorgeous. And he said one morning, as little flecks of, wood from the vine are falling down on the bed, he's like, I don't know if I love this much of the outdoors in our bed. Can we just pare this back a little bit and do something? I'm like, no, it's a masterpiece. I mean, it's done. And I said, let's just get through the holidays and then I'll disassemble it. And so then the whole grapevine canopy came off and it's a 4-poster bed now. But I loved it, but you have to work with the people that you're sleeping with. So yeah, it was a little
Very,
too
very
much.
true. And was that with
Yeah.
silk that you made that with? The silk grapevines or real
No,
grapevines?
real from the backyard. It was real. I chopped it all and I brought it in, I wound it through all the wooden framing, and it was beautiful. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I put ivy in it, when it was Christmas. I loved it, but it was just way too much. It was a little over the top. Yeah.
Well, I picture and it looks beautiful in my mind. So.
You would like it. You would like it. Yeah, I think
But to
that's
be
true.
honest, so nothing I ever do with my art is ever real. I create every single piece um, because I had it in, and it started with a client asked me when I was doing my 22-foot wall for a client. He wanted this wall, he wanted the trees and branches and everything to look real, but nothing could be real.
Mm.
So which was a challenge, but it's a
Mm.
challenge I loved. I really like challenges. So I started creating, and so it's my goal to always make the bark look like actual bark, or the branches, or those little tiny things. Nothing is ever real in my art, and so that way it will never decay. It'll last forever.
Yes. Oh, I can relate to that. I mean, I was talking about my mother and how her art is living on, beyond her. And I mean, I think that there is this part of us that wants to make a contribution to our world that is beautiful and that lasts. I mean, hopefully, we can all say that hopefully that this mattered enough, to someone who is going to take it on beyond us and it's going to live on. I think that's important. I do. I think that having like a longer view of the art that we're creating, rather than just the moment, right? Living in the moment is one thing, but I think when you're really investing and creating something like that piece behind you, that is so spectacular. You want to be able to really believe and hope in it, that it will be a blessing to the people who get to enjoy it far beyond your creating life. So yeah, I think
Exactly.
that's a big deal. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and people don't relate. Yeah, because that's what you want. You want to bless somebody or somebody to feel something when they see that piece of art, or and my goal is for them to imagine being there,
Mm.
being in that moment or that scene. So when I design, especially commission pieces for clients, I go into their home and I ask them lots of questions. I take photos. I want to see what kind of art they like to collect, what kind of photographs, what colors are in their home, make sure they like those. And then I have them tell me stories of places they're gone or whatever. So then I know how to create it. And then I give them the choice whether they want a low relief or high relief, branches coming out off, what do they want? And I create several sketches for that. And then I take it back and we go from there. But in the sketches are always drawn to like if they were on that wall or wherever they want it
Mm.
placed.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, their piece of art is designed specifically for them because it's telling
Mm.
their story. So
Mm-hmm.
every time they see that, it's going to remind them of their story.
That's beautiful. Very custom. I mean, that's so custom. It's so specific to the individual needs of the client. And, when I'm writing these books, that's such an intriguing, right, difference, right? I mean, this is not custom. I mean, it's telling a story and hoping that the reader that you imagine targeting the book for is going to be the one that it reaches, but you never truly know like you do.
You don't know. It's like I created, Pam, who's watching right now. I created this art piece. It was a rose, and it's called Chosen. And well, it has several roses in it, and it's just like God laid it on my heart to create that rose piece, and so that's what I did. And I think it was a year later, 2 years later, Pam saw that piece, and she's like, "That's my piece. I want that piece because it spoke so much to her."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so, and it's like this piece behind me, it's a combination of different scenes that I've seen out walking and stuff. So it tells a story for me, and I'm hoping it tells stories for other people as well.
Yeah.
But most of my work is commissioned work. So, but
Yeah,
yes,
that's
as an
neat.
author, you're just hoping it, like you said, it triggers something for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, there are people who are so gracious, which I'm so grateful for, that will read something, you know, that I've written, and then they'll write me through my website, or they'll write me an email and just say, take the time to say, this is what this has meant to me. I just got an email yesterday from a mother of one of my students who was a really gifted writer. She wrote a novel when she was 10. And I worked with her on it to help her finish it so she could give it as a Christmas gift to her family. And so now she's graduated from Fordham. She got a degree in dance. She's going on to do, she's working for Point Magazine. So she's combining her dance skill with her writing skill, and she's doing journalism for Point. She wrote to me and she's like, "Thank you so much for tutoring Lily, because now all these years later, she's getting to have a satisfying career in the arts that she loves so much." Well, the fact that people even think to do that is just such a gift. And right, there you go. I mean, the investment is mattering in a way that is living beyond. And I can't imagine what that's going to be like for Lily sitting in my class when she's 10. I don't know where that's going to go, but it's really a grace, I think, when people take that time and they actually tell you what that meant. Yeah.
It's a total blessing, and I don't think people realize, even if it's been years later or whatever, when somebody reaches out and says, "Thank you for this, thank you for doing this," or "This really helped me in this way," it helps you to keep going and doing what you love. It's kind of like for even this podcast. It's like it's not free. Because it takes a lot of apps and different things to combine all of this,
Sure.
and it's time, but it's the comments that I get, and I enjoy helping people. I enjoy having guests like you on, meeting different people. So it means a lot to me, and I am always blessed when people reach out. So
Yeah, it's such a gift. I know. I love it. So should we talk about awe? Should we talk a little bit about
yes,
awe? All
let's
right.
talk more about you and all your stuff.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I do want to get into this idea of awe. And I like the way you phrased it, which is that we can be rewired by submitting to awe. And that idea, I think, is crystallized best in this quote that I have by Albert Einstein. So I'm going to read this quote and then we can talk about it just real briefly. He says, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. His eyes are closed." Yeah, and that's Albert Einstein. And oh my gosh, I mean, I think that quote hits so many things on the head. This notion of to be able to pause, taking in the grandeur of the beautiful landscape that I live in, and then standing in it, not doing anything. I think that this is what American culture is just completely beginning to lose, which is the willingness to pause and to stand and then to reflect. So that, I think, is sort of an equation, right? I love the verbs there. Pause, stand, and then reflect, and then hopefully receive from God, from what it is that you're looking at. What is it that you're being called into? And boy, think about the world. I mean, if the world could be in a place of pause, stand, reflect, and
Oh,
then, resource and create. It's astounding what the world could be like if we just literally stopped with all of the nonstop, right?
it would,
Uh,
because like you said, it's not just an American problem that I've seen. It's an international problem. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, was because I want people to do that. Like you said, take the time to stop and reflect and the pause.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
so important. I want to take a quick moment here to say hi to Trish, Pam, Sue. I saw your names all come up. Thank you so much for being here. And if I missed your name, I'm sorry. My phone only shows so much. So,
Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining the conversation. Yeah, I think that Advent, which is the season that we're in leading up to Christmas, that this season is such a reflective, it can be such a reflective time of preparation, right? Of preparing. We do so much preparing, but within all the preparing, we forget to pause, and so
very, very true.
oh my goodness. My husband gave me last year this present that I'm just loving this year, which is an Advent single candle. And so it's quite tall. And then it's marked 1 to 24. And then on the 25th day, it says Happy Christmas. So every night we're lighting it and then burning that day away while we eat dinner and taking that, to just taking that moment to say, what was it about the day today that was made it a great day or a hard day? What was going on for you today? And so I just think that having those little small bits of life that call us into pause, stand, right, and reflect. As he said, be wrapped with awe. I mean, wrapped. Wow, I can't. That's a big word. But at least we can get there if we take and we actually do the pause and the stand in the place that we are being uh, given to live in. I was given to live in a studio apartment in the city for a long time when I was working on Kellogg's advertising. And it was tiny. I mean, it was 500 square feet. And I yet had beautiful windows from the 19th floor that looked out on the city. And when it was freezing, 0 to 10 degrees, all of the steam from all the buildings created these ribbons of white that just ascended from up into the sky. And I would wake up in the morning and I would just pause and look at those. I was not standing, I was laying down. But I just remember thinking, boy, the tops of buildings and all the heat that is being emitted from them is so beautiful. And if I didn't have this view, I would never know it. And so being wherever we are, if we just
Oh,
take that moment to see, right, to see.
oh yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like you said, take the moments. It's kind of like because I was thinking at first up at the Alpine Lakes when you hike all the way up those trails and it opens up to the view of this beautiful little lake, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. And you're the only one there,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, or when I've been out looking at the Northern Lights at night, and just watching them. Like the last time I was like 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and they're just like bouncing all over, and the colors changing, and when you can see them with your naked eye, not just the camera, it's just breathtaking.
Yes. Yeah. It's very different. I agree. I think it's very different when you get to have your senses engaged live versus, oh, I'm looking at this, in a video, or this is someone's photo that they just took of this. Yeah. And that's another reason why you got to go outside. It's funny in the story thing I was talking about earlier, that my assignment that my daughter's given to me. One of the questions that I did this week was, what advice do you have to pass on to future generations of your family? And I had three things: love God, love people, go outside. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot. But yeah, in our day, oh my gosh, you could literally spend the entire day inside forgetting to go outside because we have all this technology. We have so much indoors that we can just live into that it's easy to literally forget. So yeah, those were my big ideas on that.
I totally get it. And you know what is so funny is like growing up, I was constantly outside.
So was I, constantly.
You know, it's like my grandparents both had these ranches and stuff, and so we'd play. And my parents had a place. You know, it was all we all lived on a farm. We had all of this country, and then even when we moved into a small town, when I'm saying talking small town, the whole county is under 2,000 people, and
That's
that's
small.
like 3 or 4 towns. You know, so you knew everybody, and our
Mm.
place was big, and so and all of the friends, all my neighbor, you know, would have like horses and different things. So you were always out riding bikes, fishing, horseback ride, anything to be outdoors. It was very
Yes.
seldom that you were indoors. And so then, you know, and that's probably why I was healthier then because you're outside all the time in the dirt.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it. I can believe it. Our son, you know, it's fun. Isn't it funny how when someone pays a compliment to you, once in a while, it really sticks. And this, I don't even know. I took it as a compliment. Maybe he didn't mean it this way, but our son said to me many years ago, I spent my entire childhood outdoors in bare feet. And that's not true. He was in school. But from his perspective, all the fun that he was having was outside. And I remember him playing soccer in the backyard in the freezing cold early March days. And he was falling in love with soccer. He was doing things that he could choose to be outside. And so, yeah, I think, wow, boy, there's just so much out there. And, you know, I have this friend, Tammy, and when she comes up here to be with me up here, we always take a book of poetry, Mary Oliver, Lucy Shaw, God rest her soul. She just passed on into the great on of heaven, a huge influence on my writing. And we'll just walk in the woods on trails. And all we do is read poems to each other. We don't sit and comment on them. We don't reflect on the words. We just walk in the woods and we just do poetry walks and we just take turns reading poems to each other until we're just over it and we can't take in any more content. And then we just walk, and we're usually pretty quiet for a while because it's like a lot to think about. And then, you know, we'll get to the lake, to Lake Michigan, and we'll just say, wow, you know, can you believe that they wrote that? And being in awe of someone else's words in the midst of a forest, that's really delightful.
Awesome. I've never done that. That's very cool though. So, and
Mm-hmm.
actually, when I'm with someone, we actually walk and talk a lot, and it's more to keep the predators like grizzly bears away or
Oh my
black bears
gosh.
and stuff.
Oh
Because
yeah.
if they hear you, you're not going to walk upon them and scare them. So,
Yes.
different setting. You know, I'm sure you don't have that. So it makes
You
it a
know,
difference.
we have told our youngest son forever that there's absolutely no bears in Door County. We've just said this forever. Well, I just read an article in the newspaper up here that the black bear population of Wisconsin has increased to 23,000. When only 5 years ago it was 8,000, and this is only tagged bears. So yeah, I think that one of them just washed up. A black bear just washed up on the Green Bay coastline just last week, and they think that he just fell into, you know, deep water and got too cold or something. I don't know how he drowned, but he did. So yeah, even here, you know, I never have thought about bears. I've thought about
No,
wolves.
so that is one of the reasons
Yeah.
we always carry in a conversation. And then
Yes.
usually it's when we stop that we stop talking a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. No, that
But
makes sense.
there's a reason for it. And you know, otherwise people will put bells on their thing, you know, their hiking
Absolutely.
sticks or something. But
Yeah.
and it's to warn even moose or, you know, cougar or elk or anything that you're coming along that path. Even though you want to see them, but if you notice, like most, it's hunters that usually get attacked because they're being sneaky, you know,
Sure.
but you know, over the
Yes.
hikers. But at the same time, so it's like I know you want to see those animals, but when you're hiking, especially if you're going to be out there 3 miles in or 4 miles in, you know, you want to have to make sure you're aware of your situations.
Yeah. I used to run with my dog all the time when she's not with us anymore. She was adorable. She was a great runner. And I was running on a trail up here and she always ran ahead of me and she got too far out and then she stopped dead. She didn't keep going. And I knew there was something wrong. And it was because in front of her, about 5 feet in front of her, there was a porcupine and it had, you know, put out its quills and it startled her. She'd never seen that before. And then she came running back to me and it was like, warning, 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 danger, you know? So yeah, it's fun. It is fun to be out there. and there's always something. There's always something out there. It's exciting.
There is, but it's like, just noticing is like, here we have the tamarack or large trees.
Oh, I love those.
They're always changing, and like this time of year, they
Oh,
don't have any needles. So it's like, and I take my phone to photograph stuff all the time because
hmm
I don't know, there's just something about the beauty. And if I don't have my phone with me, that's when I notice that have things happen that it's like the one day I had an eagle drop a fish out of the
Mm,
right in front of me, you just never
beautiful.
know. But I didn't take a photo because I didn't have my camera out, but it's like
Yeah,
sometimes things
sure.
happen. Or if you ever even tried to take a picture, because the one day we were fishing with our grandkids, and it's been a few years, but the eagles would dive down and catch the fish or try catching them even on the lines, or if you threw a fish back, because they'd be a little slow, because we always kept throw our fish back.
hmm
And but trying to take a photo, those eagles are so dang fast.
Yeah, yeah, they're so powerful. I know. It's amazing. I just love them. I know. It's exciting. We have a lot of them up here. They've really reestablished themselves after a long hiatus up here. They're back in full force. So that has been fun. And I have seen, I mean, they're all over the place now. So it's really cool. I learned that you can spot them and distinguish them from other birds of prey because when they have their wings full out, they're completely straight. They don't have a bend in the wings. Whereas like the other guys that you see all the time,
Ospreys,
yeah, those they all have that bend.
hawks.
So yeah, that's one of the ways that you can, even when it's a female, you can tell. It's how those wings just go straight out. It's so
Yeah, we
cool.
have a lot of eagles up in our area, and always have. So we see them quite often. So,
Yeah, that's
so
neat.
what other books and stuff have you written so that we can share those with the audience? And
Sure,
you're
sure.
more of your, where the time's going by so fast here. We're gonna have to bring
Yeah,
you
that's
back
always a
on.
good talk when it goes so fast. Okay, so my first book was my Christmas book. That's Back to the Manger. That's still available on Amazon, and I do send it to people when they write to me. I'll sign it and send it to them. That's the one my mom did the art for, and it's just kind of a classic. I mean, it's sold every Christmas for 16 years, so that's a real treat. And then my first novel was A Minor, and that is about music as a healing agent for people suffering with dementia. But it's through the character development of classical piano. And I am ecstatic that that book finally came out as an audiobook this year. And it has all the music, the classical music embedded into the audiobook. And the reader is really gifted. He does the Russian accents perfectly. And so when you get it as an audiobook, you can actually hear the music while the story is being read, which is really cool. So that was my novel. And then I did a book of poetry and essays with the Writing Guild that I'm in. That was in 2017. And it's just for women. It's a really beautiful book for women about hard things that women have been through and how their lives have been how they have been able to overcome those challenges, really big challenges. There's some great poetry in there. There's a poem I've always loved in there called "Where I'm From" by Will Nona Nolan. Will Nona Nolan. Wow, that's hard to say. And it's just all about her growing up life and where she's from. And it just gives such color to the Black inner city experience. It's beautiful. I love it so much. So that book comes out. It came out in 2017. That always sells mostly around Mother's Day. A lot of women buy that for their mothers on Mother's Day. And then I did a book with our foster daughter from Liberia called Margaret's Child. And it was her idea. She did all the art for the book. And it's about how do families who bring in African children deal with their hair. Their hair is, she has 4C hair. Her hair was really challenging when she first came to live with us because she wanted to have hair like me. And I had no idea how to take care of her hair and get it like that.
Okay.
So we decided in that learning curve that we learned so much that we created a book about that. That was really fun. And then my novel that is my, really big, I mean, it's been a great book. It took forever. So I'm very thankful. It took 9 years to create it. And it's about the heist of a painting by Caravaggio, which actually was taken in 1969 out of an oratorio in Palermo, Italy. It's never been found. It's a mystery. It's a suspenseful book. And it is a very much an art history book about Caravaggio, his life, his art. And the main character, Orazio, is modeled after the life of
Sounds like
Caravaggio.
a movie.
Yeah, I've had so many people say that. It's so funny. I have a good friend who's in Hollywood, and she's always saying, you know, I'll get it to people if you want to get it to people. And it just sounds so overwhelming to me. I mean, yeah, I should do it eventually. Well, later, I'll do it
Later.
maybe, you know, it's later,
If you
later.
have time, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like a lot.
And I totally get that because some people it's like, well, why don't you do this or do this? Because like you, I've done so many things in the past. It's like, well, and you're good at them, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I could do that, but I'm working on this right now.
Yes,
And
that's how I feel. Yes,
it's like I'm already
yes.
working on 10 projects. How can I throw another one in there? You
Yeah,
know,
fortunately, I don't do
time for
that many because I
myself.
can't handle it. I definitely cannot handle that many projects, but I am working on, I'm pitching a book right now that I created in St. Louis last winter. I love it. It's also in the art lane. It's a children's book, and it's very much in the sort of inner city art lane. I love it. So we'll see what happens, but that's my current project. And then I have another writing project that's pretty big. That I've written half of, which is nonfiction. And then I am doing research on the next novel, which is going to be about dance. And it's going to be about a couple who are just the stars of the Paris Opera Ballet and what happens. So yeah, that's exciting. So that's out there. That's going to be way out there, but that'll be my last kind of art novel, because then I will have done classical music, fine art, and I have to do dance because our daughter has been a professional dancer for many, many years. And she just retired to stay home and be with her identical twin boys, our little
Oh, wow.
tiny, cute grandchildren. So that's cool. And I want to honor her dance life and spin out a yarn about it's World War II, Paris Opera Ballet, art. Yeah, it'll be a mystery for sure. So very
Oh,
fun.
so where did she dance professionally at?
St. Louis, and the company that she went to Butler and majored in dance, and then she danced for St. Louis Dance Theater, which is formerly the Big Muddy Dance Company. It's a contemporary kind of Joffrey, I would say, but more
I've
cutting
heard of it.
edge.
So
Yeah, so good,
our
so
our,
good.
our daughters took ballet when we were in Eugene from the Eugene Ballet Company.
Cool. Oh, that's
So
great.
was about to travel, but then we moved here.
Yeah. Oh
Right
my
when she was
gosh.
supposed to start the, more professional. So hey, I want to reach out and say hi to Christy and Danny. I saw those names come up too. So thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, be sure to share them in the comments.
Oh,
Either now or later. So this has been such an amazing conversation already.
thank you
So
so much. It's really a treat. It's a treat to just talk about, the impact of being able to see, and like we were saying, to be able to pause and to stand and to be willing to be captivated and to be in awe of what is all around us and what can we do with it. That is it's interesting when I've worked on really, really big projects like a novel, I have to have something that's quick and short to keep me writing consistently. And so I ended up coming up with this idea of obviously taking a lot of photos because we're in a lot of beautiful places. But once in a while, one of those photos will just sort of get into like an earworm, kind of get into my mind. And that calls forth a response, which is usually a poem. And so I ended up creating a poetry Instagram, which is Seasoned Poetess, which is just photos with poems that go with them. And that has been such a neat balance in writing for me of here's the big thing you're doing. This is taking tons of time. It's taking tons of mental and emotional bandwidth. But it's not extremely polished. I don't sweat over all these poems. I just create them even when I'm walking. And then I'll go home and type them up on my computer. And I usually sit on them for like a day or two, revise it, and then I just put it up there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, some sort of masterpiece. It's just a way of, as I said, like bringing balance to the creative process when I'm working on something that's really like the picture behind you, something that's really big. It's nice to have an offset of something that's not. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that. That's been good for me. It's been healthy.
It is because it's like every time I go on a walk and I take those photos, like you said, I might use that single photo or I might use a combination of 10 photos to create a piece.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it helps me because I'm not there. I can't see everything. So, and, our memories aren't always the best, or we'll remember something kind of, but it's like sometimes it's so much easier if you can see it because then it
Yes.
reminds you of what you might have been thinking at that
Hmm.
time, or else like I'll voicemail myself, put it in my notes saying, hey, this is what you were thinking at this time,
That's a good idea.
because otherwise I'll be honest, I forget because I'll have something else come up and then I was like, I'm going, what was I thinking at that moment? Or what was it I thought was a great saying or a great verse or like you said, a great poem? You just want those ideas helped or write down different ideas that you want to do or create. I always have lists around me like do this, different projects or things that I want to work on. And sometimes it's good to just go off your normal schedule and go do
Yes,
something fun that's not on this schedule. It's I
absolutely.
was talking to with my granddaughter the other day. I'm like, oh, we need to go and paint pottery, you know? Um,
Yeah.
Painting pottery is fun. And I used to
Hmm.
create and work in pottery. I don't do it
Hmm.
anymore, but just painting, no mind. Or like you said, or playing games with family or just or lighting a candle.
Yeah,
There's, it's
that's
like
the, yeah.
all those little things are treasures for those awe moments when you really sit back and you reflect. It's kind of like when I wrote and I designed the AI reel that I just put out, and I'll be putting it on Instagram afterwards. But it was a reflection of memories and stuff, and I was like, wanting to come up with something, and I used AI. I'll be honest, I'm learning how to use some different tools, and it was like when I created the song, I teared up because it was like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, this has so much meaning about memories. It's like, what are the little things that are the awe moments? So it's like when you go into this Christmas season, and like you were saying, it's like you start relaxing, you start thinking, pausing. And these are pauses we should do all year round. But it's so funny how this time of year, everybody starts reflecting on everything more.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love it. I mean, that's one of the things that makes it special. I mean, there's just, we were talking about how my husband and I recently, just because we're here in Wisconsin, so we have to watch the Packers. I grew up in Chicago, so I have to watch the Bears. They're both having great seasons. So, of course, we've been watching these games. And that has made us watch Christmas and holiday ads. I've never done this. I went for years and years and years with no TV. But now I'm doing it. And I'm like, honestly, these ads are really great. But I was in advertising, so I'm probably way more attuned to it and thinking strategically about, oh, they're reaching, this people with this message. But yeah, I'm getting such a kick out of it. And so many of them are the people around the table, sharing the memory, missing someone who's gone,
right.
John Travolta singing Grease Lightning on a sleigh. I mean, it's hilarious. So definitely Cap, the holiday this time of year really does very much motivate people in that direction, and hopefully even more so to pause, right? And like we were saying, pause, or I should say Einstein was saying, stand and reflect, and then maybe do something with it, make something. Yeah.
Yeah, and do something during the year. It's like
Yes.
take that moment every day. You should take a moment to pause and reflect, stand. I really love that. So
Me too. I love it. Well, we got to give credit to Einstein. And just the idea that he said that in that opening of that quote, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious, the thing we don't know. And, Americans, I think, are so driven to know everything and be so rational and, understand everything. And it's like, no, no, I don't want to. I want to be able to stand in the midst of something I don't understand. Yeah.
I think that's why I enjoy to travel to new places so I can see for myself. And I love hiking and to these high lakes and different places because I get to not only see, but I get to experience. and you feel, and you use all your senses when you're hiking up these trails in different places to
Yeah.
experience that. You're going someplace that nobody else is, and it's a challenge. It's not always easy. It's not. It's like the one we were like climbing over boulders, huge boulders, and you didn't want to make a wrong step because you could fall in a big hole, you know,
Hmm.
and you didn't want to break
Right.
something. It's a challenge. But when after you're done and when you come home, you're just like, because it was an awe movement when I was at the lake and stuff. But afterwards, it was like, oh my gosh, we actually did it. We actually accomplished it. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. There is definitely a great sense of accomplishment in that for sure.
But it
I'm
was
dying to know what is the location of that piece of art that is behind you? Where is that?
so it's in my mind.
Nice. That's great.
And so it was inspired between North Idaho, Montana, and Yellowstone.
Beautiful.
So
Wow. That's so beautiful.
combinations of different places. So,
Yeah,
and
I love that. I love the way the water looks like I can just touch it. I can just touch it. I can feel it.
thank you. So, yeah, most people, the walls are created so you can touch, but like the art piece that I still need to put together my slideshow for is actually primed a certain way so it has oils on it. So like
Nice.
my sky, I loved using the skies and the rocks because, as you know, that when light hits it differently, it changes colors when you use oils
Mm-hmm.
because the colors will come through. So it's like for my one client's house, sometimes the sunset looks more purple, sometimes more orange. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on how the light's coming in through the windows. And
Yeah.
every piece is carved so that there should be a light, which I don't have above this piece yet. So it shows even more shadows and different things that are actually there. You don't
Yeah.
realize how much stuff is in a piece until you sit there and
Mm-hmm.
pause.
Mm-hmm.
You said you pause for a while, and then I've had clients that, I mean, if they're sitting, or friends, they're sitting across the table and they're looking at an art piece because you see a lot in an oil painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the 3D, because your every little thing is carved pretty much, and they're like, oh my gosh, I just realized that's there, or that's there, or that's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that's one of the challenges and one of the reasons it took so long to get my recent novel out is because I was just insistent on having the color reproductions of Caravaggio's paintings in the book. And I wanted people to be able to sit and, take in the story, but through his art as well, let that tell the story. And, it was really hard, honestly, to find a publisher that got that vision and appreciated what a difference that would make. I finally found one, thank God. But
Awesome.
yeah, I think that I love that our daughter, she read it. There's Caravaggio's painting, and then there's a journal entry with each painting that I created so that you would have a context for what is going on in his life with that painting. And she read the book, and then she skipped the journal entries because she didn't want to be taken away from the plot. But then she went back and she really studied each of the paintings and read the journal entries as a second round. And I thought, wow, that's a very interesting, different way of taking in the book. So yeah, it made me think of how you were describing that piece of art with the lighting and how you see it. And you see a lot of different things in it based on how light is hitting an object. And I think that was kind of cool that she thought of a different way of reading the book, and it meant so much to her after she had read the plot through to
Right.
take in his art in that way. So I think that's such a good idea. Yeah. And that was pausing and taking in the art,
Oh, it is.
definitely.
Well, I think even if you watch a movie a second time, how much more, especially if it's a good movie, how much more there's that you missed the first time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and especially if you like a book, it's like read it two or three times. So yeah, it takes
Mm-hmm.
us. It's like I have my book, and then I just redid a chapter for another book, for Olivia for her Mother Earth effect, and so it's like redoing and doing new things, stuff. So, but time is going by so fast, and then we have to go. But Margaret, I want you to come back because
Oh, that's so
I
sweet. I love
love
talking
having
with
you
you.
on.
It was so joyous. I think after my kids' book that I'm pitching comes out, it will be really fun to continue this conversation. So I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll keep you posted.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So,
Yeah.
you're so easy going and easy to have on. So I love it. So
Oh, I love talking with you. Thank
thank
you.
you
It was so
so
lovely. Thank you.
much. But
Aw.
I want to say to make sure you put your books into our Monday marketing. And I want everybody to check that out. The Monday marketing, I put different courses, different things that I know of people. But if you have something, be sure to put it in the comments below. And one of the things I know I've noticed, and I was been talking to people, is shipping has gone up a lot lately. So it's like, I guess like my son-in-law, even just to mail a book, it was $8. I went to mail a birthday card for my sister, and all I did was put a gift card in it. It was $7 to mail a birthday card.
Ooh,
So,
wow.
so don't get upset at the person you're buying stuff from. They have no control over the shipping, and they're usually only charging you for what the post office charges. They're not charging for the time. So for those, like, I know Earthing has products, Soul Woven has products, different people that have products, you know, be happy, be gracious, be kind to people during the season, right? And take a moment to pause and reflect. And I love it how you said, Margaret, get people, how you guys light that candle together. Take time together, even just to reflect and enjoy. And if you get a chance, and if it's like you get to go snowshoeing, right? Or cross country skiing, and you get to enjoy the snow. And if you're like me and my snow's melted, I'm going to go enjoy a walk. So make sure you take time out for that, or even just to step out on your deck and breathe in some of that fresh air. So,
Absolutely. I love
anything
it.
else?
Thank you. One little thing, I do want to say one little thing. I am going to recommend this book I adore for Advent. This is called All Creation Waits, The Advent Mystery of New Beginnings by Gail Boss. She gives all the unknown things that are going on with creatures in the winter. And it's fascinating. And so I highly recommend that for this time of year. It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for being here. I hope you have an amazing week. And be sure to ask your questions here and check out my website, unlockingfreedominnature.com. And see you later. See you next week.
See you later.
Another amazing guest. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tammy, so much.
Thank you, Margaret.
Take care.